Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Jazz Hooker, Mystic Minister, Reiki Master Healer, and Psychic Medium. Also an intuitive life coach. I love to facilitate the liberation of the mind, the body, and the spirit so that you can live a life full of joy and full of wealth, health, divine partnership, and complete self-expression. So this is what I like to do right now is talk to you about boundaries a little bit and this cool method that I utilize to enforce boundaries. I'm going to get to that method in just a moment, but right now I just kind of want to talk to you about why boundaries are necessary. Me personally, I'm a psychic medium. I started out my journey as calling myself an empath. I didn't call myself a psychic at first. I was like, oh, I'm an empath. I can feel everybody's energy, and that's usually how people start out. I can feel everybody's energy. And once you learn that you can feel everybody's energy, it can become really overwhelming when your spirit knows that you're interested. So, and even if your spirit knows that you're not interested, your focus on your disinterest is what continues to attract it because your subconscious only brings you what you focus on. So when you are receiving things from other people and things like that, it can get a little bit challenging. I'll tell you a story. I was a teacher. And I was teaching, I taught culinary arts, and I was going over a specific lesson, and I don't remember what the lesson was, but I remember the student, his name was Eduardo. Eduardo, every time I looked at him, I just felt this energy, and this was while I wasn't necessarily doing readings at the time. This was even before the 2020 upset. Okay, this was before the 2020 school year was over. So this may have even been 2019. So I was giving the lesson, and I kept feeling this energy every time I walked past this student's desk. And the way that my tables were set up, it was like 3 students per table. It was a pretty long table, so it'd be a student here, a student here, a student at the end. And as I would do this, I would walk past this table. I noticed it a couple times. So then I gave the students instructions. I released the students. I went back to my desk, and then I came and I looked at the student again. And every time I would look at the student, I would feel it again, and then I would look back at my computer, look back at the student. So I get up, and my students knew me at the time. They knew Chef Hooker is a little weird. Don't come in there with bad energy. Like, that was me. That's me as a teacher. Do not step in my room with bad energy, because you can leave it at the door, pick it up on your way out, but do not come in here with that. So I remember going over to the students, and I was like, hey, guys, are one of you guys feeling are all of you guys feeling okay right now? And they were like, yeah, everyone's doing, like, I'm doing good. I remember it was Jasmine, Daisy, and Eduardo. And Jasmine and Daisy were like, yeah, we're fine. And then Eduardo was like, actually, I'm sick. I knew it was him. And then the thing was, before Eduardo told me he was sick, I tapped him on his head just slightly because he had his head down and his hood over his head. And I just tapped his head slightly. And I was like, hey, Eduardo. And I was like, are y'all doing okay over here? And then I asked them, y'all doing okay? Because y'all know Chef Hooker be feeling some energy. And I just feel some energy over here. And they were like, and he told me, and this was before I knew, don't just go asking people their stuff because we don't do that. But I went over to him, and when I touched his head, I felt this tingle go up my entire arm, and it went to my entire body, like from all the way up, and it just made my whole body feel really loose. I was like, okay, and I knew it was him. I confirmed it, and I ran through the pantry in to see my work bestie, and I was like, girl, let me tell you what happened. So this is before I had enforced those boundaries. Okay, and this is also before I really knew what was going on. I didn't know that I was really picking up other people's energy. I just knew I was feeling stuff. I didn't know that I could avoid it. I didn't know that I could protect it. And I had been protecting certain things over time along the way, because by that time I'm grown. I'm an adult. Clearly, I made it through all of this time, and now I'm starting to feel all of this stuff. I always knew I felt different than everybody else. But now I can really put a name on it. It's the fact that I was working with high school students. You know, you're working with a younger group. Maybe you're interacting with so much different energy that it opened up. It was a lot of stuff going on that year too, 2019. So I learned a lot. But I learned the importance of protecting my boundaries. I would drain myself after about after fourth period or after third period, my whole mood would go down with the class. And I knew that I was just fine and upbeat, but as soon as all of my students would enter the room, they're at the end of their day, they're tired, all these things, my mood would drop too. And I would notice those different things, and I was like, okay, so after that, we got sat down for 2020, and lockdown, COVID, all the things, yada, yada, yada. I'm at home a lot by myself, just all the time by myself. I go back into the next school year, and I notice that everything is not my energy. It's everybody else. Like, I can tell what's me and what's not me. So the number one thing that I do advise you to do whenever you start getting boundaries is to find out who you are. Who are you? Who do you see yourself to be? Who am I when I'm by myself? What makes me laugh? What makes me cry? What usually makes me cry? There were times where I would call my friend on the phone, and I would just burst out in tears and be like, what's wrong with you? Like, what's going on? And they'd be like, nothing. And then a few minutes later, they'd call back and be like, come over. And as soon as I get with them, they burst into tears. And I'm like, I knew that wasn't me. So it's like, you have to kind of know yourself. That's the first thing. And then setting boundaries it's okay to tell people no. It's okay to not take those phone calls that you know are always going to bring you down. The phone calls that you know somebody is just about to unload all their negative stuff onto you. You don't have anywhere to put it. They just sent it to you. They took that weight from their shoulder and put it onto yours. And they ain't even holding it with you no more. And you know what? If they are, they're probably going to send to somebody else for them to hold as well if they didn't get from you what they needed. A lot of time I would have conversations with people, and they specifically didn't need my advice. They just wanted someone to vent to, which means that I was just pulling in all their negative energy. I wasn't creating a boundary between myself and other people. It's okay to put your phone on D&D. It's okay to put your phone on airplane mode. It's okay to not answer phone calls if you know that this phone call is not going to make you feel good. This is a really good way to check your energy, and saying no to appease yourself instead of saying yes to please someone else, which takes you a lot more effort. It's important. These are good ways to enforce boundaries. So this specific tip that I want to encourage for empaths, that I want to encourage for people who identify as empaths, people who tend to take on other people's energy, people who are in this work, Reiki masters, Reiki healers, psychics, tarot readers, anybody that does energy work, that deals with the non-physical. I have this acronym for you, and I want you, if you have never heard it before, if you have heard it, let me know in the comments. But if you haven't heard it before, tell me if this is useful for you. So it's an acronym. It is SOAR, SOAR. SOAR, starting with surrender. You know what? I'm going to draw it out. Surrender. We're going to do surrender. First, I want you to, whenever you're in a situation where you feel like someone's energy is just off or whatever, and you know yourself, you've already gotten a good grasp of yourself, you know who you are. Maybe you're at a party, maybe you're out with your girls, maybe you're even with just one person and you know the energy is off. Just surrender. Surrender to whatever the energy is. That's not saying that you engage with it. It's just surrender. That's just allowing it in. That's not you puckering your nose up at it. That's surrendering to it without judgment. The next thing that you're going to do is observe the energy. So let's say it's somebody acting shady, and you could feel the shady energy. Observe it. Observe it. Don't engage with it. Observe it. And I do this all day. I'm a Gemini. I do nothing but read energy, and I don't miss. But even more, empaths will feel some stuff going on, and they don't got to say it. So it's like, observe the energy. Now, observing the energy is usually where people tend to, this next step is hard for people to do. It's like a transition phase. Okay. This next step is to, accept the energy. This is not engaging with it still. This is just accepting it. This is just saying, okay, this is what the energy is, and it's not mine. I know that I'm not angry. I'm not going to engage with it and be like, oh, they acting funny. They acting funny because then you're pushing the situation in a different place. Or if you're uncomfortable or something like that, you don't want to engage with it. You just want to observe it. Observe the feeling in your body. Observe what's not yours. Observe and then accept that it's not yours. And then the next thing I want you to do is release. You're going to release the information. You're going to release the energy that you just pulled in. By releasing it, that, like I said, you never engaged with it. You're going to release it by saying that was their energy, not mine. If you want clarity of the energy, you can ask spirit for clarity of the energy, or you can just carry on about your way. Because that's what I like to do. When I pick up other people's energy and I know it wasn't mine, I act like it wasn't there. If you ain't say nothing about it, it didn't happen. So I act like it's not there. And then whenever it's something that I feel like is making me a little bit uncomfortable, like somebody else's energy, I observe it, I see it, and then I make my moves, still not engaging with the energy unless I feel like I absolutely positively have to. Anyways, I hope that this video was useful for you. If you liked any of this, if you felt inspired, empowered, or encouraged, and you feel like you could use this information, please follow me, utilize the link in the information below, like, subscribe, share, comment, all of these different things. I'd love to know that I be knowing, so hit me up, talk to me, and use the SOAR method. Create your boundaries and know yourself, trust yourself.